So a little more work I'm doing with the Oregon saw here, but this applies to electric saws in general. We have deadfall wood out in the woods. You want to dice some up really quick, have an evening or a weekend's worth of wood. This is easily a weekend's worth of wood in you know, normal weather, spring and fall weather. I've got a couple of rounds already put by the road. And if you're camping, this not really a backpacking thing, but if you're car camping, going out in the RV, you don't want to spend any extra money on the firewood. You just want to harvest some of the ground fall that's always going to be around in the woods, and have a low impact doing it. The electric saw, very little noise, if any. I mean, it's really, I'll be honest with you, this thing is quieter than a worm drive circular saw that I own. Not a lot of noise to these things. You find a piece of wood, not one that's totally rotted, like this little section here, not so great. I cut a little out of it because some of it was still good. Over here, that might be a little far gone. You might not want to stick your chainsaw in there, but like a bow saw, you can play with a bow saw, that's fine. But you can't do this kind of cutting with a survival knife and expect to have a good time that weekend. And that's where the chainsaw comes into play. And with these electric tools, realize I'm not having to carry a bunch of mixed gas and a lot of other junk around, just a little bottle full of the chain lube oil. You know, you can do all the adjustments on this with a Leatherman tool. You don't need the special screwdriver for it, although it's nice to have. And, you know, easily, you know, good couple of evenings worth of wood, let's say for a weekend, if it's not super bad weather, but you want to have a campfire at night or spring or fall, and you just, you know, you want to have some fire. And it's easy to process this up, and that's not counting some branch wood, okay? I trim out these trees with a pole saw, and like that, there's some more branch wood needs to come off, and I got to get on a ladder and do some of that. But that's just called good woods maintenance, okay? There's some people want to say that's abuse of trees. They're full of shit. But when you have the electric saws like this, the only difference between the Greenworks and the Oregon saw at this stage is how long it's going to take you to do the work. The Oregon saw, as electric saws go, is a high-performance saw. It's arguably the best cutting saw out of the 40-volt lineups that are out there. The Greenworks saw could do all the same work. It'll just take longer. But this is where a real advantage comes with having a solar charging system. Everything's battery operated, doesn't take a lot of noise. We're not having to use a whole lot of gas out here except for the vehicles we use to get here, and then, you know, a little bit of vehicle stuff to get around. And if you're hardcore about homesteading, or you're dealing with the biodiesel or the natural gas burning stuff, or let's say you're making hydrogen out of your surplus solar power and water, of course, this is one way to do it. If you can generate electricity, you got heat. It's a little bit roundabout way, but with these saws, not a lot of noise. We can utilize deadfall indefinitely in a forest. If you've got a decent amount of forest per person, we're not having to go and murder trees to heat our homes. It's just a deadfall and branches that we're trimming off of stuff, and then occasionally, like that poplar tree, this one right here. This one's actually dead. It's got to come down. I'm not going to knock it down this weekend trip, but I'll knock it down on the next one. And it just shows what can be accomplished with one of these Oregon saws. I've been doing a fair amount of cutting this afternoon, not a huge amount, all on one battery. But to answer some other questions out there about these things, yeah, it does eat batteries. This is the extended run battery pack, and I'm finding myself going to that rapid charger fairly often with this thing, but it's getting some extensive work right now too. So thanks to the folks that loaned it to me, we're giving it a real workout, and I'd say it's proving itself as a piece of equipment. And just so people understand, yeah, you want low noise, low impact. We're going to harvest a little deadfall lumber for campfires. Easy to do with the electric saws. You can see the size on this stuff compared to the saws. I'd say it's about 6-8 inch lumber. Pretty good for just cutting the rounds, and we can use these as an all-night log in a fire or split it. Either way it goes.